Welcome to Spinster's Library. I am Charlie.
And I'm Claudia.
And this is our Women of Harry Potter series.
Part 3.
It is. We're talking about Ginny Weasley today, who is my favourite character.
Okay, I didn't know that.
That's why I've been pushing this one so much.
Okay.
So we are going to be talking about Ginny in the book and not the film, because the films are... What's a word that's nice and polite, but at the same time means...
Suboptimal.
Yeah, suboptimal. Let's go for that.
So, if you haven't read the books, don't watch this video if you don't want to know what happens to Ginny Weasley.
Ginny is a great character. She is one of the Weasley family, obviously. And she is sort of, I guess, Harry's main love interest.
Mm-hmm.
But
yep.
I think she is more than just a love interest, really, isn't she?
Yeah, I mean, in books 1 to 4, she is barely there.
Well, she's not a love interest there either.
No. Shall we just start with her introduction in the Philosopher's Stone?
Yeah.
So, when Harry goes to King's Cross for the first time, he runs into the entire Weasley family. And this is the first line she says. Well, "Now, what's the platform number?" said the boy's mother. 9 3/4, piped up a small girl, also red-headed, who was holding her hand. "Mum, can't I go?" That's her first line. Also, can I just say, Ginny fulfills the trope of the main character falling in love with the first girl he meets. Just, 6 years later.
Oh, yeah.
That's a thing. She's the first female character who's not his relative, not Aunt Petunia or whatever. Once she finds out who he is, she's very keen. "Oh, Mum, can I go on the train and see him? Mum, oh, please."
Oh, Ginny.
So she's a fangirl.
She is.
When we meet her anyway, for the first few years.
Yeah. That definitely is a big part of her character in the start.
Mm-hmm.
But after she gets saved in the Chamber of Secrets, I can imagine that would be a big impact on her.
She disappears a little bit.
Yeah, I don't really remember her much in The Prisoner of Azkaban.
No, I wonder how much she's actually mentioned in that one.
But by the time we get to the Goblet of Fire, there's the section where she gets invited by Neville to the dance.
Mm-hmm.
And when Harry and Ron are mocking Neville, well, it's mostly Ron, let's not lie to ourselves, she defends him and she decides to go with Neville, even though I think what happens, if I'm remembering correctly, is Ron says, "Right, Ginny, you can go with Harry." And although that's kind of like, she's been in love with him for how long now, and that's kind of her dream, she goes, "No, I'm going with Neville. I'm not going to be your second choice."
Actually, I read that scene slightly differently, because she's really embarrassed to be going with Neville. And she says she only agreed to go with him so she can go, because otherwise she wouldn't be able to go.
Yeah, but at the same time, she doesn't drop him and go with Harry.
That is true. She's definitely principled.
I think she wants to make it clear that she and Neville are just friends, definitely. But at the same time, there's this part of her that's saying, "Hang on, he asked me. I am going to protect him," and that's a very big part of her character. I think her desire to protect people.
Yeah. She's such a Gryffindor.
She is.
Yeah.
I love her. That's sort of her character.
In the early books.
Yeah.
We get glimpses of her later characterization early on. So in the Chamber of Secrets, for example, when Harry goes to visit the Weasleys and she's all shy and drops things, and her brothers say, "That's really weird. She's not normally like that. She normally won't shut up." We definitely get the feel that there's something more to her. A lot of people have criticised J.K. Rowling for not giving her a proper character until book 5 or book 6, but I don't think that's true.
Well, in book 4, when Hermione, there's that story from Rita Skeeter about Hermione trying to break Harry's heart, and the Easter eggs come, and Ginny brings the Easter eggs to Harry, and there's that sort of a play between them that's kind of quite funny, and for the first time she sort of has this sense of humour. She is very Fred and George in her character.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big thing we have to talk about, her sense of humour.
She is so funny.
She's so funny. And she's just not there to take any shit from Harry.
Yeah.
She's just not gonna sit down.
From Ron.
Oh my god.
Yes.
As a little sister, I find her amazing. Just her inability to let her brother get away with anything is great. So, this is chapter 25 of The Half-Blood Prince. "You'd think people had better things to gossip about," said Ginny, as she sat on the common room floor, leaning against Harry's leg and reading the Daily Prophet. 3 Dementor attacks in a week, and all Romilda Vane does is ask me if it's true you've got a hippogriff tattooed across your chest. Ron and Hermione both roared with laughter. Harry ignored them. What did you tell her? I told her it's a Hungarian horn tale, said Ginny, turning a page of the newspaper idly. Much more macho. Harry asks, and what did you tell her Ron's got? And she says, a pygmy puff, but I didn't say where. And I think that's just...
Yes.
That's such a little sister thing to say, but it's so funny. I love it.
She's got such a great relationship with her family in general.
Yeah.
But I think the sense of humour does come from her bond with Fred and George.
They've got a very big influence on her. In the Order of the Phoenix, right at the start, when Harry arrives into
Grimmauld
Place, she goes upstairs and speaks to Fred and George. She says, "Oh, hello, Harry," said Ron's younger sister Ginny brightly. "Thought I heard your voice." Then turning to Fred and George, she said, "It's a no-go with the extendable ears. She's gone and put an imperturbable charm on the kitchen door." And I hope I pronounced that correctly.
Yeah, so she's clearly tried to listen at the door.
"Tonks told me how to find out," said Ginny. "You just chuck stuff at the door, and if it can't make contact, the door's been imperturbed. I've been flicking dung bombs at it from the top of the stairs, and they just soar away from it, so there's no way the extendable ears will be able to get under the gap." A few minutes later, when Mrs. Weasley turns up, she asks, "Who's left all those dung bombs outside the kitchen door?" And Ginny says immediately, "Crookshanks." And she says this unblushingly, which I think is such a great way to explain someone who's clearly a good liar.
Yeah, doesn't give a shit.
He loves playing with them, she says, and that's amazing.
Yeah.
Even though Mrs. Weasley immediately after sees how filthy her hands are and says, "Go and clean them." There's no sense of, hang on, are you lying to me? No, she's just that good at lying.
Yeah, in that case, she's definitely better than Fred and George, because Mrs. Weasley knows that Fred and George are always up to stuff, but no one's found out, for example, that Ginny's been, like, stealing the brooms out of the shed. Like,
she's got this...
She's very sly.
Yeah, she has a sly streak, but it's more than that. It's this ability to just know that she is not going to get caught for these things.
Yeah.
That she just says, "I'm going to blame it on Fred and George," or not,
or
I'm
on
going
the cat.
to.
I'm going to blame it on the cat.
They are going to be blamed,
Yes.
I think, is her big thing.
Yeah.
It's that no one's going to suspect me because I'm this sweet little girl.
Mm-hmm.
But her sense of humour is just fabulous.
Yes, it's definitely a big part of her personality once we actually get to know her personality. The first book where she actually plays a big role is the Chamber of Secrets, but she's barely in it.
Yeah.
You know, every now and then you get a glimpse of Ginny being confused, Ginny being scared, Ginny sending a horrible poem to Harry. Bless her heart. But
poor little 11-year-old. No,
Yeah.
you do see a bit of her interaction with her family when she is about to tell Ron and the others what's been going on, but Percy interrupts her.
Mm-hmm.
And he claims that it was all about him because Percy is a pompous asshole. There's this second of, like, you think she is going to rely on Ron. You know, she's going to confide in him. And I think that does really speak of how close they are. Because they are the closest siblings in age. There's only a year between them. And as much as they fight, like, here.
Oh, they do fight.
They fight badly. I read out earlier the bit about the tattoos, but after that, Ron says, you know, just because I've given my permission doesn't mean I can't withdraw it. And she goes, "Your permission? Since when do you give me permission to do anything?" And he goes, I'm happy with you, with Harry rather than anyone else, but just as long as you don't start stalking each other in public. And then Ginny, in one of my favourite things ever, she just, "You filthy hypocrite! What about you and Lavender thrashing around like a pair of eels all over the place?"
Ew! I had forgotten about that line.
It's just so funny, but so true.
Yeah.
She is not there to take his shit. She is not going to let him run over her or tell her what to do.
I really like that she has so many boyfriends before Harry. And I'm saying so many boyfriends as in, like, more than I had at her age.
Yes, she dates Michael and she dates Dean.
Dean, yeah. She has these relationships and she seems happy in
Doesn't
them.
Hermione say, "I told her to, you know, just let you go"?
Yeah.
And then she went off and lived her life. And I think that's really great.
Yeah.
And that is why, in the end, I think they end up together, partly because she let him go as this figure and they learn each other as real people.
Yes.
But a big thing for me is her compassion. So I think that's one of her defining character traits that doesn't get talked enough about. People don't really talk about her compassion. There's this section. In the Deathly Hallows, during the Battle of Hogwarts, there is a break where Voldemort says, "You've got an hour to bring me Harry." And as Harry is walking out of the grounds to go and meet Voldemort, sorry, he who must not be named, I know, he walks past Ginny. Someone else was moving not far away, stooping over another prone figure on the ground. He was feet away from her when he realised it was Ginny. He stopped in his tracks. She was crouching over a girl who was whispering for her mother. "It's all right," Ginny was saying. "It's okay. We're going to get you inside." "But I want to go home," whispered the girl. "I don't want to fight anymore." "I know," said Ginny, and her voice broke. "It's going to be all right." And now Ginny has just lost her brother.
I was just about to say that. Like, I got goosebumps when you read that out.
She has just seen his dead body, watched his twin, like, lose it, watched her mother screaming.
And Ron.
And
Percy,
everyone is
there.
just breaking down. But she doesn't stop and let herself mourn. She goes out and comforts other people. And that is so strong and so sweet.
Ginny has a real strength of character. She rarely seems to be insecure.
There's a section in The Order of the Phoenix that I haven't marked out, but it's during the Christmas break when Harry's like, "Oh, what's wrong with me? I'm being possessed." And she's like, "Hold up. I wonder what it could possibly be like to be possessed."
Yeah.
And then she's just like, "Why are you ignoring the fact that I've been through this and clearly gotten over it? Because I am functioning as a real human being and I have my own trauma, but I'm getting past that." She is this incredibly strong young woman who has had... She was 11 when a man literally entered her brain and took over control of her body. Yeah. And that is sort of inconceivable to me, that violation. But she gets through it and she goes past it and she offers the support. And I think that's why in the Deathly Hallows she can manage to grieve and yet help others in their grief. Because when he comes back to life...
Oh, I think there's one scene when he comes back to life. He's got his eyes closed, but he can hear her voice.
Yeah. Ron, Hermione and Ginny's voices were worse than McGonagall's. Harry wanted nothing more than to call back, yet he made himself lie silent.
She becomes one of the three people that Harry cares most about. First it's Ron, then it's Ron and Hermione.
Then it's Ginny.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a point where he wants to go over and save her because she is fighting Bellatrix.
And then her mum jumps in.
Yeah.
But we'll discuss that in her own episode.
Yeah. Anyway.
So I guess the way that most people define Ginny is as Harry's girlfriend.
Yeah.
So we definitely need to talk about that relationship. But I think we've shown that she's a character besides her relationship with Harry. A lot of people, maybe people who don't reread the books as obsessively as we do, don't realise how much she is in those books before she becomes Harry's girlfriend.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't really see her in her own circle of friends.
No, you see her with Luna a bit, which is nice. And she defends Luna against other people, or you hear about that third hand.
More than anyone else, actually, because when we first see Luna and Neville doesn't want to go in the compartment with her on the train, Ginny is the one who says, "It's only Luna Lovegood, don't be stupid, just go and sit with her, she's fine."
But if we are going to talk about her with Harry, I think the section after Dumbledore's death is where...
Do you have to read that?
Yeah, I do. He did not want to leave Dumbledore's side. He did not want to move anywhere. Hagrid's hand on his shoulder was trembling. Then another voice said, "Harry, come on." A much smaller and warmer hand had enclosed his and was pulling him upwards. He obeyed its pressure without really thinking about it. Only as he walked blindly back through the crowd did he realise, from a trace of flowery scent on the air, that it was Ginny who was leading him back into the castle. Incomprehensible voices battered him. Sobs and shouts and wails stabbed the night, but Harry and Ginny walked on, back up the steps into the entrance hall. Faces swam at the edges of Harry's vision. People were peering at him, whispering, wondering, and Gryffindor rubies glistened on the floor like drops of blood as they made their way towards the marble staircase. "We're going to the hospital wing," said Ginny. To me, it says just who Ginny is to Harry. She is the one he'll obey without question. He won't think about it.
Yeah.
He trusts her that much. And for someone like Harry, who has the most insane amount of trust issues ever, to have one person in your life that you just know without thinking.
Just after he's lost the one person that he trusted before.
Yeah, I think that's something.
And again, it shows her strength of character. She knows what she's got to do. She does not break down over his dead body.
If you want to talk about strength of character, though, there's only one section we can really talk about, and that's when Harry breaks up with her.
Yeah, okay, go on. I have to say, this is one of my least favourite scenes, because it does seem a little bit contrived. It seems like, you know, we don't need her in the next book, so this is how we're going to get rid of her. But that's just my...
That maybe, but I think from Harry's point of view, it's stupid. But if you want to talk about Ginny as a character, I think it's important.
How she takes it, you
how
mean?
she does it.
Okay, go on.
Ginny, listen, he said. I can't be involved with you anymore. We've got to stop seeing each other. We can't be together. She said with an oddly twisted smile, it's for some stupid noble reason, isn't it?
Yeah, she knows him.
Yeah. And later, she did not cry. She simply looked at him. Voldemort uses people his enemies are close to. He's already used you as bait once, and that was just because you're my best friend's sister. Well, that's not really what happened, was it, Harry? You're a silly person. Think about how much danger you'll be in if we keep this up. He'll know, he'll find out, he'll try and get to me through you. What if I don't care? Said Ginny fiercely. I care, said Harry. How do you think I'd feel if this was your funeral, and it was my fault? She looked away from him over the lake. I never really gave up on you, she said. Not really. I always hoped... Hermione told me to get on with my life. Maybe go out with some other people, relax a bit around you, because I never used to be able to talk if you were in the same room, remember? And she thought you might take a bit more notice if I was a bit more myself. Smart girl, that
Also,
Hermione.
yeah, I was just going to say, Hermione's a matchmaker here.
But you've been too busy saving the wizarding world, said Ginny, half laughing. Well, I can't say I'm surprised. I knew this would happen in the end. I knew you wouldn't be happy unless you were hunting Voldemort.
And she says his name.
Maybe that's why I like you so much. That is who Ginny is.
Mm.
She has been in love with this guy since she was a kid. He has saved her life, and she has gone when she was she even 15 yet? No, she must have still been 14 because she's an August baby. So she,
Okay.
in Order of the Phoenix, how do I know? I know everything. She was born at the end of August. So in the Order of the Phoenix, she's still 14 when she flies on the back of an invisible thestral across the country to the Ministry of Magic to go and fight Death Eaters.
Yeah.
She's the smallest of the group. She's the shortest, the slightest, but she's the fiercest in a way.
She's often compared to a cat. Did you notice?
Yeah, no, that's which I obviously Gryffindor lion imagery as well.
Yes. Yeah,
she's very much a lioness.
Mm.
After everything she's done for him and he's done for her, she is able to sit there and watch him break her heart, knowing that she might be sending him off to his death, but she's never going to hold him back. And she's not even going to cry now, even as much as this hurts her, because that would hold him back.
Mm.
It would make him doubt himself. And Ginny is the most selfless character.
Wow. Yeah, you really like her.
Oh, by the way, Ginny's my favourite character. I don't know if you noticed.
There were some interesting things.
So let us know what you think of her, what you think of our discussion.
Who's your favourite character? Since we're talking about that.
Yeah, and if it's a female character, we'll let you know when the video comes up.
Yes.
So thank you for watching.
Bye.
Yeah, bye.